Lawsuit. You got your first rental property and now you're being sued. What do you do? Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Daniel, one half of the Kwok Brothers, and today I have a very special guest today. Brandon, how are you today?
Doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. And we're going to talk about lawsuits with landlords, how to pretty much prevent them, what to do while you're in the midst of them. We're going to have a lot of fun today, aren't we?
Sure are.
That's right. But before we get into that, please smash that subscribe button so that we can actually spread this, helps our algorithm. Share it with your buddies because you never know. You may have a friend that's being sued right now.
And hit the little alarm button, right?
That's
that
right.
What you guys do?
The like button.
You get notifications that way.
That's right. Thank you. Guys, you're doing much better than this than I am. Right. You should just run the YouTube channel.
Maybe just sign it over. That's fine.
That's right. That's right. Cool. So let's go ahead and get started. Why don't you first introduce yourself? Who are you? And I know you're a legal representative. You're an attorney.
That's right.
And what do you specialize in?
Well, my name is Brandon Ayers. I'm an attorney practicing out of St. Charles, Illinois, serving clients in Kane County, DuPage County, suburban Chicago. I focus my practice in estate planning, elder law, multi-generational income tax, and real estate.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. And you've done a lot of real estate closings as well, from what I hear.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So first question right out of the gate, you know, when we're talking about lawsuits and landlords, I think that's one of the things that most people are so afraid of. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the questions that I know attorneys get a lot is, hey, can I be sued for this? Or am I going to get sued? And, you know, I know eventually everybody goes through some type of legal scuffle, right? Would it be fair to say that?
Yeah, I think the answer is, can you get sued for it? Yeah, probably. And will you get sued? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, a lot of individuals who watch our channel, they have yet to do their first deal, but they want to, or they've done a couple deals already and they're looking to scale. What is something that somebody could do early on in their career to really make sure they're structured correctly, to be proactive about any lawsuits that could happen?
I think the biggest thing legally is the entity selection, getting that taken care of. You know, putting it in putting your property in some sort of corporation, LLC is usually what we recommend for real estate. But before you get to the legal side of things, I think it's not important. You don't want to put the cart before the horse. You want to find a property. If you're at the very beginning, find a property that makes sense. You know, don't get stuck in the corporation and all that kind of stuff and lose sight of that. You need a property that's going to cash flow and do all those things. You need to find that.
Yeah.
And then we can get the thing set up. But from the legal standpoint, it's the right entity for you, for what you're going to do with it, what assets, whether it's just real estate or whether it's real estate, some other stuff. If there's management companies, all those types of things need to be structured right.
Yeah.
Beyond that, you have to make sure you obey what are called corporate formalities, just your basic annual check-ins, your semi-annual. Just you got to make sure your CPA, your accountants, all your professionals that are going to help you have the information so they don't get violations from your state or the IRS. That way you don't fall out of your LLC protection.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know a lot of attorneys, you know, unanimously say that when individuals are acquiring rental properties, the best entity to have is an LLC. So in what ways can somebody structure and how can they structure their LLC so that they're protected from lawsuits or protected from any legal trouble for that matter?
Well, really the LLC is the first step. You can get an LLC itself set up very kind of simply with a good attorney that knows what they're doing. After that, it's maintaining it. Maintaining the LLC is where you get all the value out of it. So when you're looking, whether it's for attorneys or CPAs or all your professionals that you need around you, you want somebody who's going to help you, especially if you're just starting out, to maintain those formalities. Make sure filings are on time. To make sure you're not late. It might sound, I'm just a week late here or there, but you can really get the rug pulled out from you if you don't obey those formalities. And they're little tiny deadlines. It's the government that sets these deadlines, so they don't really have to make any sense. They're just the deadline. They just have a date, and that's it. And you have to obey it.
Yeah.
So you really need to make sure that you stay on top of those.
Yeah. So let's move on to the scenario that everyone is thinking of. You know, let's say that there's a woman who walks in front of your property. She falls, right? She breaks her shoulder, and there's about $50,000 in medical bills, and she wants to sue the landlord. And they call you at 3 a.m. in the morning. They're frantic. They're freaking out. They're panicking. What is your response, and how do you work through that situation?
Well, the first thing is you don't want to just ignore it. When you get served with a claim or a lawsuit, you don't just ignore it because like the corporate formalities, attorneys or you have a certain amount of time to respond to those things. So if you wait 2 weeks and then you go finally call your attorney because you're a little nervous, a little embarrassed, all those types of things, you're going to blow through and your attorney's just really going to be fighting from day one. So just turn it over to your attorney right away. Don't get a sense of embarrassment. You didn't push this lady down, I assume. You didn't throw ice on the sidewalk. She just fell. It just happens. People get that.
Right. Or she didn't press like on this video.
Yes, that's probably what did it.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's why I pushed her.
Yes. Yeah, you pushed her. Now I'm getting sued because you're pushing ladies outside of my property.
This is a genuine question that I have because I pushed her for not pressing the like button.
Well, then we have other issues there.
Yeah.
But no, you just want to make sure that you just don't ignore it.
Yeah.
Putting it in the pile of all your other bills and say, I'll get to it next week is a really bad idea. You just want to get it to your attorney right away so they can start formulating a response. They can counsel you on saying, hey, this is a really big deal. What were you thinking? Or, hey, this kind of stuff happens. We'll be able to take care of it. They'll give you the lay of the land. Attorneys, for better or worse, are not paid to just tell you what you want to hear. So they'll tell you the bad news. They'll tell you the good news, if there is any, on either side. So just get it to that attorney that knows what they're doing, because eventually, if you own rental real estate for long enough, you're going to get sued to something. It's just a yes. It's going to happen. But just get over your own, whether it's ego or pride or embarrassment, whatever it is, and get that thing to an attorney to get to work.
Yeah, and I know that happens very frequently, like you said, with somebody either falling or somebody, pressing charges because they feel discriminated against, right? And they're a tenant, it's eventually going to happen. So, what should people expect, right? What should people expect from you? What should people expect to happen? Obviously, when people get a letter like that in the mail, they freak out. I know I did, right?
Yeah.
When I got my first one, and I called my attorney right away, and I started freaking out. And the first thing that he had to do was calm me down.
Yeah.
So what should people expect? What is the procedure like moving forward from there?
Well, you bring up a good point about what we do as attorneys. A lot of times we have to just kind of bring the emotional side of things down to say, hey, this is a bit of a weird situation. I've never had a guy push a lady down because she didn't press the like button. Let me look into some things. Maybe it's just a punt, but it's just all, I'll look into it and we'll get back to you, even if that's it. Or they can say, hey, this happens all the time. I know what judge this is going in front of. I know the procedures. It's going to happen A, B, C, and D, and give you just get a roadmap. So as much as people don't generally enjoy calling an attorney saying, hey, I'm getting sued, it's actually kind of like going to the doctor when your shoulder hurts. You can kind of get some answers and get a prescription filled on how to make it better. Because the lawsuit's just not going to go away. That demand letter that you received, and that other attorney is really aggressive. It makes it sound like they're coming after everything plus your mom's everything.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's not going to get better just by ignoring it. So just get to an attorney, and then from our side, what we do is we just advise the client on, here's where we are. We can respond in so many ways, A, B, or C, and then go through the pros and cons of what the path looks like from any kind of response.
So last question here. Let's say that we have a hypothetical scenario where there's an individual who wants to invest in real estate. You advise them on getting an LLC and getting some insurance, and they say, nah, I'm okay with that. And let's say, sure enough, a week later, a woman falls, has the same scenario, sends them a letter. What is the probable outcome there?
Well, I mean, the worst case scenario is that they're going to get sued personally, and that their personal assets are going to be on the line for that woman's medical bills and whatever else a judge might award her, or that might be negotiated between the attorneys. So that's a really bad situation. If a client calls me on that, I don't have a lot of good answers for them.
They don't have an LLC, they don't have insurance.
Yeah, if they don't have either of those, then I'd say that I'm as an attorney, we're made to kind of plan for the worst. So I like the belt and suspenders approach. Get yourself an LLC, get yourself an umbrella policy just in case something doesn't, in case you miss a formality and they pull that rug out. But if you don't have either of those, you're in a tough spot. You're a real tough spot.
And they're most likely going to lose a good chunk, right?
Yeah, if they're liable for it, they have to bet on just somebody saying, "Oh, you're not liable," but that's where all your chips are in that situation.
Right, and you're rolling a pretty big dice there.
Yeah.
So what is the probable outcome for the individual who has done everything the right way? Let's say they called you up, says, "Hey, Brandon, I'm pretty serious about getting my LLC. I'm going to get my insurance. I'm going to do everything the right way." What is the probable outcome in that scenario?
Well, in that scenario, again, the worst case thing, maybe you lose all the equity in your house that you have in the LLC, the property. Maybe even leads to losing that property altogether. But if you've done that right, it extends only to the assets that are in that LLC. so you don't have to worry about your own house, most likely, unless, you could always do things that are really weird that a judge would say, hey, we're coming after you.
Sure. That's like really
yeah,
bad.
Yeah. If you do, and there are cases out there where somebody's like intentionally trying to do things.
That's if they don't like and they don't subscribe either.
Yeah, both those things.
They don't do either of
famous case law, not liking and subscribing, they come after everything.
Yes.
It's a nice little carve out you guys got in that law there.
Yeah.
Really, really well done. But it's really just it extends to the assets of the LLC, most likely. So yeah, maybe you lose one of your whatever rental properties. And that's not fun. Nobody's going to be skipping for joy when that happens, but at least you have a home to go into and you have a car to drive there, and you have your savings account still. And your kid can still eat, with this, that kind of stuff. So that's what would happen.
And I know that's uncommon, right? For somebody to lose their whole rental property because of that one incident. You know, I've heard, I think, only about 1 or 2 stories out of a lot, but but typically it's a settlement, right, through insurance and
typically you do that. But if especially I know I remember specifically after like hurricanes and things in certain parts of this country, the insurers get real tight with what they're going to cover and not cover. So then maybe more corporation assets are up on the line. So it's not automatic that you're going to lose everything, but worst case scenario, at least it's isolated to just that one property or whatever assets are in your LLC.
Yeah. Any last words on what landlords can do to not only prevent and be proactive about potential lawsuits, or any last words on what they could do in the midst of it? Yeah.
So prevent. You want to not only have your corporate stuff that we talked about. One thing we didn't touch on, make sure your leases and everything are really well thought through. Don't get caught having some sort of boilerplate thing that you kind of mixed and mashed off of Google, and then somebody sues you and you don't even know what's in your own lease.
Yeah.
You need to know what's in your own lease, and you need to have an attorney to advise you on what should and shouldn't be in that lease. And that's the other big piece. So once you get that corporate side, make sure your leases are tight, make sure you're respecting and I think just in general, clear and open communication with your tenants solves most problems, right?
Yeah.
Nobody calls an attorney the first time a light bulb doesn't turn on, right?
Right.
It's when you ignore them and then the dishwasher goes out and you still ignore them and then X, Y, and Z happens and then things snowball. No, they just don't like you and they're going to take you for whatever. Next time they sprain their ankle mowing the lawn, they're coming after you.
Yeah.
So you want to just clear and open communication, be reasonable where you can, and just work within the boundaries of your corporation and lease.
Yeah, and it seems like every attorney I talk to, that's one of the most unanimous things they say. Hey, keep in contact, have communication, have good communication with your tenants. That's so pivotal. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, or else I will find you, and I will kill you. All right, goodbye, everyone.